Good evening. I'm Chris Matthews. Welcome to Hardball. Today, President Bush escalated the Shuster Libby matter by openly suggesting that he might pardon him, giving him a full pardon by the end of his term. President Bush has now avoided any direct testimony by either his vice president or the vice president's chief of staff in that big federal case involving the nuclear case the president made for going to war with Iraq. Shuster Libby refused to testify in that case. The vice president refused the chance to defend his chief of staff in that case. And now, having commuted Libby's sentence, the president and his people have refused to say what role the vice president played in that decision to commute the sentence. Thanks to Mr. Libby's refusal to come clean, what the prosecutor called his decision to throw dirt in the umpire's face, he was charged with perjury and obstruction of justice. But because of Libby's stonewalling, we didn't get the truth going into the trial, and now, thanks to the president's commutation of the prison sentence, we're not likely to get the truth coming out of that trial. Thanks to the way things have turned out, the president now has a lockbox on how he and his vice president sold us into this war. Former Ambassador Joe Wilson, the man at the very center of it all, will be here. But first, Hardball's David Shuster has the big report.
Late Monday night, just hours after President Bush decided to keep Shuster Libby out of prison, Democrats took aim at the Bush White House and unloaded.
Look what he did today with Shuster Libby. He commuted the sentence. He commuted the sentence. Now, you know, that is what you might call tone deaf or brain dead. One of the two.
One of the greatest principles in America, which the Founding Fathers fought for, was equal justice under the law. And this evening, the president completely trampled on that principle.
Fueling the outrage is the evidence from Shuster Libby's perjury and obstruction trial that Libby took actions in the CIA leak case on behalf of Vice President Cheney. Today, in an editorial called Soft on Crime, the New York Times stated that President Bush, quote, sounded like a man worried about what a former loyalist might say when actually staring into a prison cell. Today, the president explained the Libby decision this way.
But I felt like the 30-month sentencing was severe and made a judgment, a considered judgment, that I believe is the right decision to make in this case, and I stand by it.
The president also said he is not ruling out giving Libby a pardon to wipe away the felony record. At the White House press briefing today, spokesman Tony Snow was barraged with questions, and some of the sharpest exchanges were about the vice president.
Did the vice president weigh in?
My guess is that I don't have direct knowledge, Ed, but on the other hand, the president did consult with most senior officials.
Did he ask for the president to spare his friend?
You know, we never, as you know, Kelly, talk about internal deliberations. Nice try.
Later, NBC's Kelly O'Donnell tried again.
Plea that somebody may make.
The public deserves to know if the vice president asked the president to use this constitutional authority to spare his former aide and longtime friend in prison.
Let me put it this way. The president does not look upon this as granting a favor to anyone.
Ambassador Joe Wilson has declared the Libby action is part of a presidential cover-up. Snow's reaction?
Well, number one, there is still considerable controversy about the facts of the case, including Joe Wilson's veracity.
Snow's veracity, though, came under fire as he kept repeating that Libby's 30-month sentence was excessive.
I think if you took a look at the trial record, at what the parole commission recommended, that what the parole commission recommended was highly consistent with what the president thought was an appropriate punishment here.
But reporters noted the parole commission actually recommended Libby get at least 16 months.
There's a range of what you're taking a look at. This gets very complicated.
Snow appeared to lose his cool as reporters asked about convicted felons who want what Libby has now.
There are more than 3,000 current petitions for commutation, not pardons, but commutation, in the federal system under President Bush. Right. Will all 3,000 of those be held to the same standard that the president applied to Shuster Libby?
I don't know.
Then, Snow was pressed on whether the administration owes the American people an apology for blowing the cover of a covert CIA agent.
Yeah, it's improper to be leaking those names.
But yes, it's improper. So you're saying someone in this administration owes the American public an apology?
I'll apologize.
Tony.
Done.
No, it's not. And that's flippant. That's a very flippant way of doing something very serious. It's a very serious matter that was very flippant.
Several years ago, former President Bush seemed deadly serious when he spoke about the damage done to the CIA when agents are outed.
I have nothing but contempt and anger for those who betray the trust by exposing the name of our sources. They are, in my view, the most insidious of traitors.
And complicating the CIA leak case for this President Bush is the statement he made early on in the investigation.
And if there's a leak out of my administration, I want to know who it is. If the person has violated law, the person will be taken care of.
Democrats argue Shuster Libby has been taken care of all right by not having to go to prison. And it has the Bush White House and the president's political party facing charges of cronyism and hypocrisy. I'm David Shuster for Hardball in Washington.
Thank you.